Hey everyone, I am David, your host. On August 16, 2026, HBO is airing one of the most unlikely bets in the DC universe, a Green Lantern show that plays less like a superhero epic and more like a season of True Detective. Two cops, one badge is a power ring, and a murder mystery that apparently has been waiting 86 years to be told. Because here's the thing, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart didn't just show up for this show. They're the product of a legacy that stretches back to 1940. Through 5 different men and 1 woman who've called themselves Green Lantern, a small army of Green Lanterns for every stripe. Some baffling casting decisions, an almost Jack Black movie, and one very persistent Nathan Fillion.
Shut up, he's kidding.
So before Lanterns lands, let's talk about how we got here, the full legacy of Green Lantern.
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let all who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
The name Green Lantern first appeared in All American Comics number 16 in July of 1940, created by Bill Finger and Martin Nodell. This original Lantern, Alan Scott, had nothing to do with space cops or an intergalactic corpse. His power came from a magical lantern carved from a mystical sentient meteor, and his ring's weakness was wood, not yellow. Alan Scott was a Golden Age mainstay, a founding member of the Justice Society of America, DC's other superhero team, the one that predates the Justice League by decades. When the superhero boom of the 1940s cooled off in the early 50s, Green Lantern went dormant with almost all of his contemporaries. Quick note, Alan Scott has had a real second life in modern comics as an openly gay legacy hero, and that's a whole separate video. Today, we're tracking the ring, not the retcons. In 1956, DC editor Julius Schwartz relaunched The Flash with a brand new character under an old name, and it worked so well, he did it again. Showcase number 22, October 1959, written by John Broome, drawn by Gil Kane. Introduced test pilot Hal Jordan, who receives a ring from a dying alien named Abin Sur. This is the version of Green Lantern that basically everything downstream is built on. The mythology gets an entire rulebook here. The Guardians of the Universe on Oa, the Green Lantern Corps as an intergalactic police force, Sector 2814, Earth's sector, and yes, famous vulnerability to the color yellow. I mean, does that mean everything yellow is their weakness? I have no idea. Hal became popular enough that he crossed into television almost immediately by cartoon standards. He appeared in the Superman Aquaman Hour of Adventure from 1967 to 1968, which is worth pointing out because it means Green Lantern was already sharing a marquee with Superman on TV nearly 60 years before Nathan Fillion would share a movie poster with him. I'm gonna warn you now, there's a couple of shots towards Nathan Fillion. Fun shots, fun, it's all for fun. The Silver Age didn't stop at just one ring. In Green Lantern number 59, March 1968, we meet Guy Gardner. Introduced by John Broome and Gil Kane as Hal's official backup lantern, Guy would spend decades as the comic's resident loudmouth jerk you love to hate, before eventually becoming one of the most beloved members of the Corps. Then, at the very end of 1971 into January 1972, Green Lantern number 87, written by Denny O'Neil, drawn by Neil Adams, introduced Jon Stewart, an architect recruited by Hal's backup. This book is legendary for more than just John's debut. The O'Neil Adams Green Lantern Green Arrow run was doing socially conscious superhero comics before almost anyone else in the medium, and John Stewart's introduction was a part of that push. By the early 1970s, in other words, the blueprint for the entire modern mythology was already in place. Hal, Guy, and John, three very different men, one ring's worth of willpower to share between them. Through the 1970s and 80s, Hal Jordan became a Saturday morning fixture as part of the Super Friends franchise, which ran from 1973 to 1985 in various incarnations. For an entire generation of kids, this, not the comics, was their first Green Lantern. And then there's a genuine piece of trivia gold. In 1979, Howard Murphy played Hal Jordan in the notorious campy TV special Legends of the Superheroes. This is the one where Adam West and Burt Ward returned as Batman and Robin from the 1966 series, along with Frank Gorshin returning as the Riddler. The first time Green Lantern was ever portrayed by a real human being on screen. It would be almost 2 decades before that happened again.
Get out of here! Who needs you, traitor? Turncoat!
DC did something drastic in the early 90s. They took Hal Jordan, their flagship lantern, for over 30 years and turned him into a villain, Parallax, during the Emerald Twilight storyline, wiping out the corpse in the process. In his place, Green Lantern Volume 3, number 48, January 1994, introduced a new torchbearer, Kyle Rayner, a freelance artist handed the last power ring in existence by a dying Guardian. He was confirmed as the sole Green Lantern in issue number 50, 2 months later. Kyle carried the mantle solo for most of the rest of the 90s, controversial with longtime Hal Jordan fans at the time, but he'd go on to headline the book for nearly a decade. He made his own animated debut in Superman the Animated Series, giving a new generation their own on-screen introduction to the ring. A fun note about this episode though, they actually did borrow a little bit of Hal Jordan's origin and gave it to Kyle for this episode.
The ring has chosen you, Kyle Rayner.
But I'm just an artist. I doodle in the margins of notepads. I daydream about color and form and monster trucks. I live half my life in a fantasy world.
You sound perfect.
Here's where the story gets fun for trivia lovers. In 1997, a Justice League of America pilot was shot for CBS and never aired as a series. In it, Matthew Settle played a live-action Guy Gardner years before Guy would ever get a near-comic accurate adaptation. And then in the mid-2000s, Warner Brothers genuinely explored a Green Lantern film starring Jack Black. Envisioned as a broader, more comedic take on Hal Jordan, it never moved forward, but it's one of those what-if footnotes that became comic book legend in its own right. I remember even being very baffled about it at the time, especially when Green Lantern, I don't know, is this going to be a comedy? It definitely was going to be. This is the era where the Green Lantern mythology exploded across animation, and Jon Stewart finally got his due. Justice League and its follow-up Justice League Unlimited made Jon Stewart the animated Green Lantern of the League roster. His first true animated leading role for a lot of millennial fans like myself, as their definitive Jon Stewart. The Duck Dodgers episode, The Green Lantern, brought the corpse into the mix, with Kevin Smith, yes, that Kevin Smith, voicing Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan also appeared in The Batman. 2009 brought the first Green Lantern animated direct-to-video film, Green Lantern First Flight, centered on Hal's origin. and in my opinion, probably the better origin on film than a film coming up. Another good origin version of the story is in Justice League: The New Frontier, an animated film that took place during the end of World War II. And while the film focuses on the formation of the League, it also is another variation of Hal Jordan's origin. And Green Lantern Emerald Knights put Hal Jordan back in the lead for an anthology-style animated feature, notably the film where Nathan Fillion first voiced Hal Jordan, kicking off a run that would eventually span 6 animated films through 2019's Reign of the Superman. Now, there's a lot of other animated films that Green Lantern has appeared in, but I'm not going to go through all of them. Those are some of the select few that I did mention. In 2011, Ryan Reynolds became the first actor to play Hal Jordan on the big screen in Warner Bros. Green Lantern. The film was a critical and commercial disappointment and effectively shelved live-action Green Lantern plans for a decade. But it's worth noting that Reynolds would eventually get his own kind of redemption arc as Deadpool just a few years later.
You're welcome, Canada.
That same stretch gave us Green Lantern, the animated series, a CGI show following Hal and Guy Gardner that, while short-lived, has a dedicated cult following today. Now, this is a quick detour in what could have been. David Ramsey, who played John Diggle across the Arrowverse for nearly a decade, was in serious consideration to become that universe's Green Lantern. The idea was ultimately scrapped before the shared universe closed out, but it's one of those tantalizing near misses in the character's history. The 2010s brought real expansion to who could hold the ring. Simon Baz debuted in the New 52 Free Comic Book Day Special Edition #1, May 2012, the first Arab-American Green Lantern. 2 years later, Jessica Cruz debuted in Justice League #31, August 2014, eventually becoming a Green Lantern herself, after starting out wielding a ring of fear as Power Ring. Both Hal and Jessica crossed into DC Superhero Girls across its 2015 and 2019 iterations.
Green Lantern?
Green Lantern?
What are you doing here? And why do you have the same name as her?
It's like super complicated.
And Hal Jordan headlined again in the animated Justice League action series. And in the live-action films, Green Lantern got a small nod in 2017's Justice League, but the more interesting story is what almost happened. Zack Snyder reportedly wanted to bring Jon Stewart into his director's cut. While a version of the material exists, it ultimately didn't make the final cut of the film. 2022's direct-to-video Green Lantern Beware My Power made Jon Stewart the lead for the first time, a full-circle character for the character DC had spent 2 decades building up as the animated corp's most reliable face. Jessica Cruz appeared in My Adventures of Superman's episode Mobile Suit Toyman, voiced by Ali'i Carvalho. Yes, Moana herself. That was the name I had a lot of trouble trying to pronounce in the Moana video, but I'm glad I did it pretty good here. That connection is about to deepen. Jessica Cruz and Kyle Rayner are headlining the My Adventures of Superman spin-off series, My Adventures of Green Lantern. Proof that even as the DCU pivots hard into live action, the animated side of Green Lantern's legacy isn't slowing down. Green Lantern's console footprint is smaller than you'd expect for a founding Justice League member, but it's there. His first true video game appearance came in Justice League Heroes in 2006 as a co-op brawler featuring the League roster. Also worth pointing out is his appearance as a playable character in the Injustice games. The character got his one true headline outing in Green Lantern Rise of the Manhunters, a tie-in built game around Ryan Reynolds' film. You play as Hal Jordan battling the robotic Manhunters alongside Sinestro and Kilowog. It's a generally odd release footnote. It shipped in two very different versions, a third-person action game on Xbox 360 and PS3, and a completely different style platformer on Nintendo systems, one that actually included deep-cut corpse members like Chip. Yeah, that's right, there's a squirrel that's a Green Lantern member. Green Lantern also earned real estate in physical world Six Flags Great Adventure. In New Jersey, ran a Green Lantern stand-up roller coaster from 2011 until its closure in 2024, a repainted, rethemed version of a ride called Chang that had previously operated at Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom. It dropped riders 15 stories at 63 miles per hour, all while they stood the entire time. A ride that I would probably never go on. Six Flags Magic Mountain in California had its own version, Green Lantern's First Flight, a fourth dimension wing coaster themed to Hal's origin, running from 2011 until 2017, and it was eventually replaced by a Wonder Woman themed ride. That makes sense because Wonder Woman is a more popular character. And Green Lantern's been a fixture of the interactive side of parks too. He's one of the most playable heroes in Justice League Battle for Metropolis, the motion-based dark ride developed with Six Flags and Warner Brothers that rolled out across multiple parks since 2015, where guests grab a stun blaster and fight alongside the League against Lex Luthor and the Joker. The character's biggest theme park footprint, though, is overseas. Warner Brothers' Abu Dhabi on Yas Island gives Green Lantern his own dedicated attention. Green Lantern Galactic Odyssey, a 4D flying theater in the park's Metropolis zone that straps riders into stadium-style seating and sends them soaring through the cosmos alongside Hal Jordan and the Corpse. It's a standing solo attraction, not a cameo in someone else's ride, which makes it arguably the character's most substantial physical presence anywhere in the world. The same park's Metropolis zone also houses Justice League War World Attacks, a 5D dark ride where Green Lantern joins Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the League fighting off an alien invasion. Which brings us back to where we started. Nathan Fillion made his live-action Green Lantern debut as Guy Gardner in James Gunn's 2025 Superman film.
Back off, Guy!
Make a move, Big Blue.
And if that casting felt inevitable, it's because Fillion had already spent 6 films and 8 years as an animated voice of Hal Jordan. He's on record joking that he might be the only actor who's played 2 different Green Lanterns across 2 different mediums.
If you have an emergency and you need, someone who to come and wield one of the most powerful weapons in the universe, you want to call a Green Lantern. You say, we need a Green Lantern. And then they say, you're going to get Guy Gardner. You'd say, crap. Of all the lanterns, that's the last one you want. But at the same time, if you're one of the Guardians of Oa and you need some dirty work done, you go right to Guy. Hey, we need you to do this thing. It's a little unseemly. He's like, I'll do it. No problem.
Now, the full corps is assembling on HBO's Lanterns, premiering August 16, 2026. Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, Aaron Pierre as John Stewart, and Nathan Fillion returning as Guy Gardner. Pitched by James Gunn as a true detective-style mystery rather than a straightforward superhero romp, The show follows Hal and rookie John investigating an Earth-based murder that spirals into something much bigger, with Sinestro looming in the wings. It's a genuinely unusual swing for a Green Lantern adaptation, grounded, moody, procedural, and it's arriving with 3 generations of Lanterns casting history behind it. And the ring keeps passing forward. Jon Stewart and Guy Gardner are both confirmed to return in James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow, slated for 2027, cementing the corpse as a load-bearing piece of the new DC universe rather than a one-off experiment. 86 years, 5 human torchbearers, an entire corpse of alien ring wielders, one nearly was a Jack Black movie, and a small army of actors who've worn the ring in one medium or another. That's the legacy Lanterns is stepping into on August 16th. Whether Gunn's detective story gamble pays off is still an open question, but if the history of this franchise proves anything, it's that Green Lantern has never really needed to look the same twice to work. And with that being said, I want to thank you for watching my video. I hope you guys like it and hype it. And I also want to thank my YouTube members, the people that support myself and this channel. One of the perks of becoming a YouTube member is getting a credit at the end of each video like you're seeing right now. And yes, that's one of the many perks, as well as movie reviews, sometimes some behind the scene updates, and other things, hopefully to come in the future. So with that being said, I hope you can become a YouTube member if you want. If you can't, just liking, subscribing, and watching all the videos I post up is enough help for me. So hopefully we get more. I want to build a community that loves this stuff too. Whether you love movies, whether you love comics, whether you love theme parks, that's what my channel is. It's just being a nerd of any of these things, whether it's Disney, DC, Marvel, Pixar, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, any of that stuff. I am a huge fan of a lot of these properties, and that's why I want to connect to my fellow fans out there. And with that being said, until next time, everybody, take care.